Yes, I will get past. It's not so bad. Yeah. Feel me within. I'm gonna win. Ain't got a question.
Hello everybody, this is Magnificent Kimberly. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much for returning. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, thank you so much for 255 subscribers. I know that I lost 2 the other day because I have not really posted any new content yet. I've been having trouble about in terms of like what content to post. But today is going to be about surrendering your desires for marriage. Now, I first want to start off by saying that this by any means does not mean that I do not desire a marriage, that I do not desire a godly husband, but this is a desire of the want that this is a desire and want that I had to give up to God and place in God's hands, because when you don't place your wants, needs, and desires into God's hands, it can sometimes consume you and turn into an idol, and idols, altars other than the altar of God and other than, you know, worshiping God is not something that I want to worship. You know, the only person I want to worship is God, my Father, and the Son of Jesus Christ. That's it. No other religion, no other person, no other thing, no other want, no other need. I do not want to put any of that before God. And so this is why I'm making this video. So if you have trouble idolizing marriage, or you have trouble surrendering your desires, which may happen to be marriage, then this is a video for you. Stay tuned. Recently, I've had a hard time because ever since I've been single, like when you see happy couples or people getting married or being proposed to, or you know, at their weddings, reciting their vows to one another, for me, it can consume me, and it was from a place of jealousy. Not necessarily wanting to be them, but wanting what they have wanting what they have. And it's not to say that I want that person or I want that marriage, but more so that I want that for myself, you know. But even then, comparison is the thief of joy. And again, I said this before, but you don't know if some of those marriages are actually true and genuine, and if they're actually godly and ordained, even if they make it appear as so, doesn't mean that it is, you know. So yeah, it doesn't mean it is. Even if it appears that these marriages in healthy relationships, even if they're healthy, doesn't mean that they're godly, doesn't mean that they have that foundation of God within their relationship. So it's important to also keep that in mind. And also, this is just something I needed to do because, again, I don't want to say it was consuming me, but sometimes it can consume you when, you know, you feel like you're missing out on your blessing, when you feel like God is not blessing you in the that department. And, you know, some people, for granted, they are called to singleness and stuff, but I feel like, based on my research, I feel like that's only a few people will be chosen to be called to live a life of singleness. And something that I recently learned is that back then in Jesus' time, either before or after or during when he came to earth, even when he was born or whatever, but I learned that men back then only had a lifespan of 30 years, because during that time, you know, there was war, there was famine, there was a lot of sons being murdered and stuff, because, you know, that was Satan's plan. He did not want sons to be born, and I figure it's because he didn't want them to be to dwell over or immerse into powerful nations against him, especially if they happen to be men of God, grow up to be a child of God and a man of God, whatever. Versus now, so singleness was, I guess, popular or normalized back then, but now, not that it isn't popular or normalized now, but now lifespan is like up to 80 to 100 years. Just look at the story of Abraham. He lived, and this is before the story of Abraham and people like him in the Bible were before. This was before our lifespans were shortened to 80 or limited to between 80 to 100 years old. But now it's hard to imagine being single for a total of 80 years, 100 years and stuff. Like, that's hard to imagine. Not saying it's not possible, but I feel like nobody wants to be single for a totality of 80 to 90 to 100 years, you know? But at the same time, for me, if I am called to a life of singleness, and I'm not sure if I am, I hope I'm not, because I do desire marriage. I do want to get married, and especially since I am a single mom and stuff, I do want to get married, and so that my son can have a healthy example of not just healthy love, but also godly love, you know. But yeah, I definitely don't want that for me. But I can say with my single season, isolation season stage in general, I've had so much peace in being alone. You know, I've been single since June 2023 of last year, I believe. And it's really been a piece. Like, it's not like, not to say that, you know, being single or anything that you're dealing with is it's lifted off because you're single. Like, for sure, I have my challenges and obstacles, as everyone does in their life, but there's just a sense of peace that God has given me throughout this whole journey that, you know, I'm super, super grateful for. And I'm glad that I really started walking with Him. I literally started walking with God even before my last relationship ended. But when it ended, that's when I really, really started walking with God and getting into my word and everything like that. And so I'm so happy for how much I've grown within God, how much I've healed, how much God has healed me. And don't get me wrong, I still have a long way to go as far as healing and being transformed, and as far as God working through me and everything. But I'm grateful for everything that He has done for me, and then all, you know, everything like all the transformation and molding that He has done through me. And then another thing is, I surrendered my desire for marriage because I know I'm not ready. Like, I know there's a lot that I still need to do to prepare to be a wife, to prepare for marriage. And a lot of people think about, like, a lot of people don't think about like, you know, when you see a couple, when you see a woman getting proposed to by her man, or when you see a couple getting married, you know, I feel like we as people, we tend to think about like the marriage part or the proposal part, like the moment when a man proposed, the moment when you're walking down the aisle at your own wedding, that you think about the big happy wedding. But the big happy wedding, the proposal, like, none of that is going to matter if you don't know how to maintain, cultivate, and sustain a healthy marriage. You know, if you don't know what it takes to have a healthy marriage, if you are not putting in the work, dedication, devotion, if you're not serious about your commitment to your partner in marriage, you know, and that commitment is often shown way before you get into the marriage, you know, or it's not shown, you know. There's a lot of things that, you know, go into having a healthy marriage with someone, and it's not gonna, like, there's gonna be a lot of ups and downs, and I don't want to say it's gonna be more downs than ups, because sometimes it could seem that there's more downs than ups. But I feel like even if that was the case, there's a difference between having being down versus going through a toxic situation, which I absolutely do not want for myself, for my relationship, you know, in the future. I want to have a healthy relationship. I want to have a healthy marriage, and that's why I'm doing the work that I'm doing now, to work on myself, so that I can prepare to be a wife and everything, so that I can prepare to be a wife, and not just to be, you know, a great wife or a loving wife, and, you know, a caring, considerate wife who knows how to cook and clean the house or whatever, but a wife that also knows how to pray for her husband, who knows how to put her husband's needs before hers, who is considerate of her husband, who will give her husband a safe space for him to vent and be vulnerable with her about anything. A wife who is, like, Proverbs 31 is literally a woman who was a boss. Like, she owned plenty of businesses. She took care of the household. She took care of the family. She was not the typical traditional housewife. You know, she was a working woman. She was an entrepreneur. she was a CEO or something like that. She was an entrepreneur at best. She was a mother. She was a caring wife and all that. So it's just a reminder that, and it's not saying if you want to be a housewife, or if your husband says, like, if you're working, your husband says, like, oh, you don't have to work anymore. I'm making enough to provide for both for our lifestyles, or our lifestyle period, because when you become one, it's your lifestyle. But it's not to say that happens, that, that being a housewife is not, like, is wrong or whatever. It's really about what you and your husband agree on, and what works for y'all, like what works for y'all dynamic. It's important to factor in if y'all have kids, or just, the economy and all that. But that's neither here nor there. I say all this just to say that every marriage is different. Every marriage dynamic, or couple dynamic, or family dynamic in the marriage is going to look different for everybody, because everybody is different. And so it was just important for me to surrender that desire, because, again, although yes, I do want to be a godly wife, and I do want to have this big family. I do want more children in the future, for sure. Not in the near future, but definitely somewhere in the future. I do want a godly husband. I do want to be a godly wife and all that. Yes, I want all of that. But at the same time, I had to surrender that, because I want to make sure that I'm choosing God's will for my life and not choosing my own will. Kind of how, like, when in Genesis 27, I believe that I was reading, when Isaac tried to undermine, it wasn't God's blessing or God's command, but he tried to undermine what God had said to Rebecca about their sons. Because when Rebecca was pregnant, I guess she felt that there was a struggle happening inside her stomach, and she was asking God, why was this so? And, why am I experiencing such trouble? And God told her that, she would have two sons, basically. One son would be strong over the other, and the oldest will serve the youngest. And so, mind you, the sons they had were Esau and Jacob. Esau was the oldest, Jacob was the youngest. Now, I guess Isaac didn't like that God said this, because Esau is also known as the Edomites, and Jacob, I guess, is known as the Israelites, / God calls them Israel, I believe. And so Jacob was God's people, however, which is the Israelites. The Edomites, aka Esau, was not God's people. And as you see in the Bible, Esau married two Hittite women who basically worshiped false idols and false gods. And I guess with Jacob stealing his birthright and then also stealing his blessing, I feel like it was good. It was a good that he did that in a way, because that would have meant that, like, if he hadn't done that, that would have meant that, it would not have been good for his family bloodline. Because think about it. Abraham was a righteous man who believed in God and followed God. Isaac was a righteous man who believed in God and followed God. And now Jacob was a righteous man who believed in God and followed God. And so, but even I feel like Jacob didn't even have to do that, because it did, like the Bible in Genesis 27, it did say the oldest will serve the youngest. So even if he hadn't done that, Esau would have still had to serve Jacob. But I guess because Esau was Isaac's favorite son and Rebecca was Jacob's favorite son, he didn't want that. He wanted to undermine God's will. So you know what he did? He told Esau to bring him some wild game and everything like that. Y'all have to read it yourselves, but he told Jacob to basically bring him some food, go out into the field, kill some animals, bring him some food, prepare it for him, and he will give him a blessing. And so I don't really like this, because this chapter kind of shows, fear. This chapter kind of shows favoritism, and I think in James, the book of James, it talks about how you should not favorite one child over the other. You should not favorite. You should not show favoritism in general, because God doesn't have favorites. God loves all of us equally. And so I didn't like that because of the favoritism. Also didn't like that because it sounds like Isaac and Rebecca had their own plans to undermine God's will. And so it was just, it's so important. And so I say all that to say, I give all that context to say that I don't want to undermine God's will for my life. I surrender my desires for marriage, and I will surrender any other desires I have because I want what God has for me. You know, even if that means not getting married, I mean, so be it. I'm just going to have to, live with that. Again, I'm not saying I don't want to get married, but I'm saying that sometimes in order for God to bless you with what you want and what you desire, you have to give that desire up to Him and just place it in His hands and leave it in His hands. Whatever He does with it, so be it. You'll eventually know whether He wants that for you or not. So I hope this video has been of help to you. And if you are desiring marriage, remember that it is okay to desire marriage. There's nothing wrong with desiring marriage, with desiring to be a wife or a husband. And if you want to be a wife or a husband, it's important to allow God to prepare you to be a wife and a husband, and to allow Him to keep working on yourself and also doing the work to work on yourself as well. Remember not to idolize anything, and it doesn't matter. It can be a person or people, places, or things that can become idols in your life. So I'm working on cutting out idols, period. And sometimes idols are things that you don't think are idols, but they actually are. And if you ask God to reveal to you what the idols are in your life, I'm pretty sure that He will reveal it to you. So just be careful on idolization, idolatry, and all that, because it's not good. I think that's pretty much it, but thank you guys for watching. If you come to the end of this video, please like, comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you would like more faith-based content, don't forget to check out my video on 7 things I didn't know as a Christian, or something like that, which basically talks about the things that I did not know as a baby Christian when I first started getting serious with my walk with Christ. And I don't know, I may try to make another video tomorrow or Saturday. I don't know. Like I said, my schedule is busy and hectic sometimes, so I'm not always able to post, regularly and stuff. But I may do a hair video of me taking these out, because I've had these in since September 29th. So I may make a video of taking my mini twist out. My mini twist out, because I don't want to keep these in for too long, to the point where they end up locking, So yeah, if you want to go on that journey with me, please click on the notification bell to stay notified. I post new videos / when I post new content. Thank you all for watching.
With the Lord, I'm in the spirit. Never mind, I'm thinking twice, I'm on a rise, yeah. While everybody else getting up to no good, I'll be praising you, ooh, ooh, you.